Welcome to the Bible Savvy Podcast, a weekly conversation about how to understand, enjoy, and apply God's Word. It's time to jump into a new passage from the Bible Savvy reading plan.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bible Savvy Podcast. I'm here with Pastor David and a special guest, Pastor Ben Chambers. Ben, why don't you introduce yourself to those who may not know what you do and explain what your job is here?
Yeah, so I am the Senior Director of Outreach, and so I give leadership to local and international outreach that surrounds all of our campuses.
All right, fantastic. So we're gonna jump in a second, but you have a really important banter question for us.
It's so important.
So important.
Life-changing, you know.
This is gonna blow your mind.
This is why people tune in right here. Okay, today's question, guys, it's a would you rather. Would you rather lose your keys once a day or lose your phone for a full day once a week? So lose your keys once a day or your phone for a day once a week.
Okay. Ben, you have a first thought?
Okay, so I kind of feel
decided
like
what I think, by the way. I'm letting you guys.
we're
we're
gonna sway your thoughts.
I feel like I already lose my keys for an hour a day each day. So, I mean, I've just grown accustomed to that. So I'll stay there. My phone, I don't think I could go like an entire day. I would go crazy. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So you just recognize the real relationship you have with your phone. You just couldn't do it.
As soon as I turned 40, I started losing my keys. So it just
That's okay.
it is what it is.
You're like, this is just status quo. I'm okay with it.
It's a normal part of the day now.
There you
so,
go.
That's already my life.
Now, would your family agree? Because I feel like if I asked your wife if she's okay with you losing your keys once a day, I wonder if she'd have a different opinion.
Well, I'll just grab her keys.
Okay, all right, there you
And
go.
then she'll call me and say, "Where are my keys?" So, yeah.
I probably go with keys too. I mean, there's no. Well, no. Hang on a second. Do I get
It's
to pick?
hard, right?
Do I get to pick which day I lose my phone?
No.
Okay, so it's
because
one-
you
okay.
couldn't, because then you can just plan it. That's like
Yeah, because if it's like,
that's
look,
fasting from
like
your phone.
like people who do Sabbath where they put
Yeah.
away their phone or whatever. I'm like, okay, I could live that way.
Yeah.
But if it was like, no, Tuesday, you lost your phone, and I'm like, I need my phone on Tuesday. It's a meeting day. Right? I got all these things.
Right.
So that probably rules that out. The losing the keys, like it just means you will have some moment of frustration every day.
Yeah.
But now that I think about it, I get locked out of my office or the church building 3 times a week at least.
yeah,
So
it
it's not
happens.
that big of an increase.
Yeah.
I always have to ask like sometimes I'm like, oh, where's my key, or my door's locked. I'm like, did I get fired? Like they didn't tell me. They just locked my door, and I got to go ask.
And pro tip: if you get locked out of the church, don't call Daniel Small, because he was always my go-to guy to call because he was closest to the door and he never checks his phone. So he's losing.
Oh, he's losing his
He's
phone.
losing his phone. Yeah. So,
Don't ask a guy who loses his phone. What about you? What are you doing?
That's interesting, because I'm thinking about I think the constant grading of once a day being frustrated that I need to go somewhere and not being able to go to that place because I don't know how long it'll take me to find my keys. And like I plan my day pretty meticulously about like when I need to leave to be on time for everything. And then if that would cause me to be late, there would be something that would slowly die inside of me. Because
So are you just accepting that your phone stuff would not be as disruptive? Like or
I think so. I think my phone is mostly a luxury because of my laptop. I can like get places. I can like I have texting on my laptop, so I can access that if needed. And the rest of the apps, it's like what do you really need? Right? The weather app? I don't know.
I don't know.
So
it's okay.
And yeah, I think I have an unhealthy relationship with my phone, and some time away would probably be good once a week. So I'm choosing to lose my phone once a week.
Wow. All
It's
right.
like a horror movie for you. Like, where are my keys?
Where are my keys? Oh, they're missing again.
I'm like,
who keeps taking them? I wonder if you'd lose them in different places every time. Like that would be the weirder part of like, I don't just go to the one place where I always drop them, you know? Oh gosh. All right, let's turn to the Gospel of John. We're going to be in John chapter 9 today. We're going to start with context, as we always do. This is obviously a biography of Jesus, the book of John. And we are about midway through his ministry. He's been teaching, he's been performing miracles, all sorts of things, but he's building up kind of some opposition against him. So there are people who are looking at him and growing more and more suspicious of what he's up to. And he is facing that opposition, even when he's doing some good things. And so we're going to read a story, one of the longer stories about that kind of conflict here in John chapter 9. And so normally we have Courtney read. And so we were like, Ben, you want to read? And he's like, no, I'll opt out. That's okay. So David's going to read today.
Yep. All the funny words. As he went along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Neither this man nor his parents sinned, said Jesus, but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. As long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world. After saying this, he spit on the ground, made some mud with the saliva, and put it on the man's eyes. Go, he told him, wash in the pool of Siloam. This word means sent. So the man went and washed and came home seeing. His neighbors and those who had formerly seen him begging asked, Isn't this the same man who used to sit and beg? Some claimed that he was. Others said, No, he only looks like him. But he himself insisted, I am the man. How then were your eyes open? They asked. He replied, The man they called Jesus made some mud and put it on my eyes. He told me to go to Siloam and wash. So I went and washed, and then I could see. Where is this man? They asked him. I don't know, he said. They brought to the Pharisees the man who had been blind. Now the day on which Jesus had made the mud and opened the man's eyes was a Sabbath. Therefore the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight. He put mud on my eyes, the man replied, and I washed, and now I see. Some of the Pharisees said, This man is not from God, for he does not keep the Sabbath. But others asked, How can a sinner perform such signs? So they were divided. Then they turned again to the blind man. What have you to say about him? It was your eyes he opened. The man replied, He is a prophet. They still did not believe that he had been blind and had received his sight until they sent for the man's parents. Is this your son? They asked. Is this the one you say was born blind? How is it that now he can see? We know he is our son, the parents answered, and we know he was born blind, but how he can see now, or who opened his eyes, we don't know. Ask him, he is of age, he will speak for himself. His parents said this because they were afraid of the Jewish leaders who already had decided that anyone who acknowledged that Jesus was the Messiah would be put out of the synagogue. That was why his parents said, He is of age, ask him. A second time they summoned the man who had been blind. Give glory to God by telling the truth, they said. We know this man is a sinner. He replied, Whether he is a sinner or not, I don't know. One thing I do know, I was blind, but now I see. Then they asked him, What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes? He answered, I have told you already, and you did not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you want to become his disciples too? Then they hurled insults at him and said, You are this fellow's disciple. We are disciples of Moses. We know that God spoke to Moses, but as for this fellow, we don't even know where he comes from. The man answered, Now that is remarkable. You don't know where he comes from, yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners. He listens to the godly person who does his will. Nobody has ever heard of opening the eyes of a man born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing. To this they replied, You were steeped in sin at birth. How dare you lecture us? And they threw him out. Jesus heard that they had thrown him out, and when he found him, he said, Do you believe in the Son of Man? Who is he, sir? The man asked. Tell me so that I may believe in him. Jesus said, You have now seen him. In fact, he is the one speaking with you. Then the man said, Lord, I believe, and he worshiped him. Jesus said, For judgment I have come into this world so that the blind will see, and those who see will become blind. But some Pharisees who were with him heard him say this and asked, What? Are we blind too? Jesus said, If you were blind, you would not be guilty of sin, but now that you claim you can see, your guilt remains.
All right, there is a lot there, guys. There's a long passage and a lot of rich stuff. So we're going to start with observations, and I think it's worth. This is a great story to review kind of the core observations we look for. We talk about TREATS, TRTS. So that's truths about God. So we got a few of those in here. We got some repeated words. We got themes and things that are striking, something striking. So as we're reading along here, we'll probably see some of those. But let's hear. What are some of your observations?
Yeah, one of the things that stuck out to me was just that idea of sin, like whose sin, and like over and over again, like this coming to the forefront of the conversation, like what's the issue, and like how Jesus kind of gets into it, like it just kind of points out like that's not the reason. But then you see that over and over again, like where's the presence of sin, whose sin, and then the like just like claiming that this has got to be a sin issue, but it's not really. Jesus saying like, no, that's not the issue at all.
Yeah.
But what's is there context for that type of question?
You know, some of it, I don't know the particular, like, here are some of the Jewish theology where they'd say this is why someone would be born blind. I think it's a little strange to think that they'd say, did this man sin that he was born blind? That seems like reverse, right? Like, well,
what did he do in that womb?
What did he do in the womb? Yeah, and Jews didn't believe in reincarnation or anything that he would have had life before he was conceived, and so I don't really understand that question. I probably someone smarter knows, but I think the intuitive sense of bad things happen as a result of sin. Now, we know that generally is true. The world is broken because of sin.
Yeah.
But people are always tempted to apply it very particularly. They want to say, well, let's look around and see who's getting punished here if this happened. And there's a little bit of precedent of that in the Bible. There are occasions where things happen to people as a result of their sin.
Right.
But you can't generalize that. But I think they're trying to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting you pointed out, this isn't the last time it comes up. The question of who sinned comes up later in the passage too.
Right.
Like they're trying to say, well, obviously Jesus is a sinner. Like they're trying to like figure out who the bad guys are in this situation. It's ironically, it's not who they think it is.
Yeah.
It's like weaponizing sin, kind of.
Yes.
Like,
or suffering that they say like, well, now we know who to indict because you're hurting, so you must have been the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, something striking to me, verse 3, Jesus said, neither this man nor his parents sinned, but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. And I kind of circled and underlined so that the works of God. It seems as if he's saying that this man was allowed to endure suffering for the purpose of the work of God being displayed in him to be shown to others. Does it read that way to you guys?
I think that's what it's saying. That's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's so hard.
Like, I suppose it's a better alternative than God's punishing you.
Mm.
But if you could believe it was God's punishing you, you at least have an explanation. Like it feels like it's not arbitrary.
Right.
But if we say, well, God, is letting this happen so that something special could go on, that kind of makes sense. But it still feels like, couldn't somebody else have gotten that assignment?
Yeah.
You know, if you're looking for a billboard, like why couldn't it be him, not me? Like
that's right.
Something else that was interesting to me is that like Jesus is the initiator. And so it's not like this blind man like we see in other miracles, like the person who needs healing or deliverance, like they're pursuing Jesus. Jesus initiates all of this. So it's like he's on his way and he sees this guy and he pursues him for this healing. So that was striking to me. I think to me it revealed like a truth about God. Like he ultimately is the initiator. It's really not us, it's him.
Yeah. I saw another truth about God here. Verse 5, he says, while I'm in the world, I'm the light of the world. Which is always, that's like just one of those beautiful images about who Jesus is, that we live in a world of darkness and he has come to shine the light. And John already has referenced this even at the very beginning, the light shined into the darkness has not overcome it, which is such hopeful news. But for this story in particular, when you're talking about sight and blindness and who can see and who can't, the idea that Jesus comes in to shine light so that what needs to be seen can be seen is a cool connection.
Well, I guess I get the cool something striking, but Jesus spit into some dirt and rubbed it into the man's eyes. I mean, like what? Like this goes as one of the strangest moments in the Gospels with Jesus, and I just I don't know. We read other stories of Jesus healing, and sometimes he just declares, you're healed. Other times there's a touch, and then like this guy gets spit mud in the eyes. Like it's just
you don't do that in the prayer center when people come back when you work in the prayer center. It's like,
step outside.
Come on,
like I'm out of mud. Let's go out. But it is interesting. I think it does make me think that Jesus is cognizant that we could turn something like this and Jesus healing people into like a strategy or like a method. And like every time Jesus heals, he like does something different, as if to say like, hey, it's not, it's not about the method, it's about the heart of what God is doing in the moment. And so I kind of love that he changes it up every time, and it's like kind of keeps you on your toes, so you don't just get stuck in well, this is how you have to do, you know, when you want healing, you got to do it this way. It's like I'm gonna mess with you guys a little bit, and it's like it's not about that at all.
Yeah.
And to that point, I also think like healing is messy, right? It's not always cut and dry and clean. Like sometimes it's rough. Like it's not the neatest thing in the world. So
yeah, that is a great point. I also think about, I heard someone say, how long does it take to spit on the ground to get enough mud for that? Like, it might be an awkward thing.
Chugging water.
It's like, hang on.
We need more mud.
I got some more, But like, yeah, you're right. It is messy, and like it's funny to read it, but like the process would have been really strange to be there, and yeah, that's probably true in our lives, even if it's not literally like this,
Yeah.
I see a repeated idea here. It's all of the stuff related to being blind and seeing and eyes, like that comes up over and over again, both in a literal sense, but then later as the conversation progresses in the metaphorical sense of who can actually see what's really going on here. So it's very clearly, even by the very end, it's overt. Like, so are you saying you're blind, or we're blind, you're blind? Who's seeing this right?
Yep.
This is a lot about like what the true perspective on the situation is.
Yeah.
So there's sort of like a situation that is repeated in that some people don't believe it's the same guy.
Yeah.
They're like, is this the same guy? Nah, he looks like him. Maybe he's a twin brother. Like, like there's all these like, and then, so that happens. And then like right after that, the Pharisees are like, nah, you weren't really born blind. They like, like everybody's trying to resolve the tension of the miracle in other ways. And it's repeated for this guy. And I wrote down like, how frustrating for this guy to be like, yes, that was me. Yes, I was blind. Like he's just answering all these questions of people trying to answer supernatural realities with natural answers. Yeah.
It's like he's on the witness stand. He's being interrogated. It's like, oh, let's bring in somebody else. Let's go get his parents. And like he keeps reverting back to the same testimony. Like, look, like I was blind. Like this is me. Like all those things. So like it's like a courtroom scene almost.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the Pharisees' case is interesting. My observation is that this hinges on the idea of healing on the Sabbath. This is not the first time in John where they've gotten into an argument about that. But the Pharisees have already locked in their assessment of Jesus based on their interpretation of how the Sabbath ought to be kept.
Yeah.
So in some ways, they're bringing all these witnesses for a judgment they've already made. They say, there's nothing that you can say that will override what we've already figured out.
Right.
We know he's a sinner because he's healing on the Sabbath, and maybe there are other reasons they oppose him, but they've already made up their minds. They're not actually honestly trying to say, well, let's ask the parents, let's ask him, let's let's see who knows something about this crazy thing that happened.
Yeah.
They've got a conclusion already, and they're trying to justify it.
Yep.
The other thing that really stuck out to me is like Jesus really cares about the whole person in this narrative. So he starts with like, what's the most immediate need? So he can't see. But then later on, we see like he circles back for his soul, right? And so it's like this balance of like, let me meet your need, but then let me come back and make sure that like your inner man is okay as well.
Yeah.
I found the whole interaction with the parents somewhat striking, that their fear kind of takes over. And they don't want to answer because they're afraid the Jewish leaders are going to throw him out of the synagogue. And I'm like, your son who's been born blind. I mean, I'm sure they had to work really hard during his childhood to take care of a blind baby and child. Like that was intense work. And now he's here and he can see, and you're scared of the Jewish, like, I was trying to put myself in their mindset, and I couldn't. That's how striking it was that, hey, there's a miracle standing in front of you, and you can't just go like, yeah, he was blind, and that you're like, yeah, this is amazing. But they go, no, just go ask him instead.
Yeah,
it is strange.
Yeah, well, and there's a little side comment where it says they're afraid that they would be put out of the synagogue, and there is something hard when you think that taking a different position will get you kicked out of your community. Mm-hmm. That's a hard place to be, and I have sympathy for the parents because when you say, I they knew what was going on. Like they're looking at their son and they're amazed. If you're at that place, the cost must be so great of like, what are we going to do? It's either pretend like we don't know what really happened, or we lose our family. You know what I mean? Like we lose the community that we had, which probably for them was a lifetime community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a scary thing.
Sure. All right. Well, verse 25, obviously one of the cool statements, and I think we've repeated in different church settings, but he finally replies. He's been on the stand. He's like, the blind, formerly blind man says, whether he is a sinner or not, I don't know. One thing I do know, I was blind, but now I see. Like,
yes.
It's like exasperation, like
frustration.
Yeah, I've answered your question. He's like, I don't know. I don't know everything, but all I know is there's been a life-changing transformation in my life, and that's all I care about right now, and that's what I'm standing on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That makes me think about what we communicate when we share the gospel with people. And I think there's this hesitation to feel like, I don't know what to say. And I don't know, like, do I have like a pocket Clayton that can answer all these deep theological questions? And I don't think that people are not really like looking for that. I think people just want to hear like a real testimony.
Yeah.
And so that real testimony of recognizing like, hey, I don't know. I don't know who he is or where he came from. All I know is I was blind now. And we just have to come to terms with like our own personal testimony. And that makes sharing our story a little bit easier.
Yeah. And there's a repeated word in here of knowing or not knowing something. And it hinges on this statement. All right, I don't know everything, but I do know one thing. But the whole debate that they're having is, what do I definitively know for sure?
Yeah.
And the hinge point is, well, there is one anchor that something has changed in this man. And so he's almost using the common sense approach. Like everybody else is playing fast and loose with what they know.
Yeah.
And manipulating what they know. And he's saying, all right, I'm just going to go back to a core thing that we cannot deny. You all knew me. I'm not blind anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's like a starting place that you can anchor. Yep. Yeah.
I'm so distracted by the pocket Clayton comment. I'm picturing a little Clayton, Clayton action figure. So Todd Hertz, communications director. We got an idea for the resource bookstore. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Okay. So verse 34. So they kind of have this back and forth, and then he's frustrated, and they reply to him, "You were steeped in sin at birth. How dare you lecture us?" And they threw him out. Like it's such a, I don't know. It's just such a sour end to this. Like, oh yeah, well, you were sinful at birth, and it's like, well, yeah, you too, Pharisee. Like,
yeah.
But they're just so frustrated. It's like biblical trash talk.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, you're not allowed to lecture us and get out of here. And they just turn off like any dialogue, any like actual conversation, because they're just offended, and they shut it down. I mean, it's not unlike Christians in 2025 sometimes.
Yeah. The comment here just a little bit before that. So the conversation heats up, right? Like they said, I've already told you, and you don't want to listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you want to become his disciples too? Like, he's getting sassy. And so there is a little bit of like, the guy calls them out, and then he gets shut down, right? Like, so there's something where the conversation has crossed the line. Like these leaders were not about to listen anyway,
right?
But they're at least putting up the pretense of investigation. And finally, when the guy says, can we just deal with the one obvious fact? I used to be blind, now I can see. And they keep on asking, he's like, I'm calling it. Like, this is not honest.
Yeah.
Like you keep asking the same questions. Do you want to be his disciples? And so at that point, I can almost feel like the Pharisees and leaders being like, okay, we're done with this. Like, and then they do a power play. They don't actually deal with it.
Yeah.
They just shut it down.
Yep. And then contrast that with then Jesus finds him, and it's just such a compassionate, like, kind of sweet moment where the man professes belief and also, worships Jesus in that moment.
Yeah.
It's like, he's like, I can't explain all these things, but I'm looking at the Son of God, and he deserves my worship, and worships right away. And I don't know, contrasting that, it just felt like, okay, we go from harshness, get out, Pharisees, to come to me, like, I receive you, I heal you, from Jesus.
Yeah, and it takes that uncertainty and it solidifies it.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I didn't know what happened. I didn't fully understand this experience. But now when Jesus comes back full circle, it's like, oh, and it just clicks and it prompts that worship.
Yeah. I think it's really, I love seeing people who are in this part of their journey where they have an encounter with God and they cannot explain everything, but they're telling their story.
Yeah.
And then there is that process of like, okay, let me figure out what actually happened to me. Like let me put the pieces together. And there's something, I love that we're a church that has people in this part of their journey. There are communities that they don't see this as often, but we get to see lots of people where they're like, I don't know. I hear stories of people who are like, I got invited to a baptism service and I heard this and I was like, oh my, I think this is for me. And then they spend the next 6 months, year putting the pieces together saying, okay, let me get a Bible. Let me ask some questions. Let me go to Rooted. Let me do the thing. Let me just try to sort this out. And it's okay. Like something profound like that you don't always understand it immediately.
Right.
Mm-hmm. To have someone who's like, all right, I know one thing. And then have Jesus patiently walk him through and say, let me fill you in.
Right.
I love that. Yeah. So good.
That's what makes those baptism stories that we post on the website, makes them so vivid.
Yes.
Like when you read through them and you see like, this is who I was before Jesus. And like, this is what Jesus has done in my life. And this is the journey I'm on now. So that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. The last section here is the confrontation between Jesus and the Pharisees. And this is where that metaphor gets explicit, right? So he's saying, I came into the world so that the blind would see and those who see would become blind, which is a pretty intense statement. We usually think of Jesus being there to kind of just, be available for everybody, but he's there to open the eyes of the blind, but he also knows there are people who are very confident in what they already know, and he's there to expose their blindness or in some ways provoke their blindness. Mm-hmm. And then of course the Pharisees are like, what are you saying? What are you saying? And then Jesus is like, if you were blind, you wouldn't be guilty of sin. So actually, it might be better for you to be like, I had no idea what I was talking about, but you're claiming to know what you're talking about, which is what actually condemns you. Mm-hmm. That you're so confidently, unwillingly listen.
Yeah,
is the real heart of the problem here. All right, let's move on to one of the M's in common. Let's talk about message here. If you could sum up something from this passage in a sentence, a principle, what would it be?
Yeah, for me, it's when Jesus opens your eyes, tell the truth about him. And you see that in the man's story, like he does not back down from it over and over again. Just him on the hot seat being interrogated. He's like, no, like this is my story. And so when Jesus does something in your life, like just tell the truth about him.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, my message is you can be transformed by Christ and also not understand everything because these are not mutually exclusive truths.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good. My message is it's hard to see something you're unwilling to believe. So I'm thinking about these Pharisees. They keep talking about how they're blind, they can't see, but they keep saying, well, we know. But what they're really saying is, I'm unwilling to believe this. So there's no way for me to know this or recognize it because it's not a category I'm willing to accept, which means it's impossible to see what's really happening. So I heard someone talk about how our minds justify the decisions we've already made, right? Like that often we already want something, so we find reasons to make that choice or to justify that idea.
Yeah.
And so often we think we're being rational. What we're really doing is just backfilling reasons for something we already decided we wanted.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on here. All right, let's turn to the other M in common, which is meditation. And I feel like we got to go with the punchline classic verse here, verse 25. This is what it says. He replied, whether he's a sinner or not, I don't know. One thing I do know, I was blind, but now I see.
Yeah.
right, let's go to the A and comma application. What do we do in light of all of this?
You know, one of the things, I guess it's based off what I do from an outreach perspective. So I went that route. And so Jesus moved towards this marginalized man. And so where in my life can I move towards somebody that's marginalized?
Yeah.
And act with compassion. So,
yeah.
That's good. All right, so my message was that you can be transformed by Christ and also not understand everything. So my application is to pursue knowledge and truth, but don't wait to know everything to share the gospel. So I think you mentioned this a little bit, in like how we think about evangelism. We think a lot of us value evangelism, like we want others to know Christ, but we talk ourselves out of sharing the gospel because we start going oh no, I don't have a pocket Clayton. And what do I do when they ask that one really niche question that I don't know how to answer? And so we talk ourselves out of sharing the gospel. Yeah. Because we're so nervous that we think, okay, no, once I know everything about everything, then I'll be able to be confident to share.
Right.
And again, the verse you had us meditate on is just like, you know what? I don't know everything and I can't answer all of your questions, but I can tell you this, like I was blind, now I'm seeing. And sometimes it's just sharing the gospel can look as simple as just share your story. Yeah. Like how has Jesus transformed your life? Like maybe they do ask you a question you don't know how to answer. It's okay to go, I don't know. That's a good question. Let me look into that because I don't know. I I'll send a question to podcast@BibleSavvy.com or whatever it is. But I just think we just need to be a little bit more willing to do what he did and say, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I have a pocket Clayton, but I am a pocket Clayton. I don't know. But here, this is the reality. Knowing a lot about theology in the Bible and answering those kind of questions does not make evangelism any easier. Mm-hmm. Like I find it hard to talk with people, not because I don't have answers to questions. That's the thing. I'm like, I wish they would answer me a question about some weird thing in the Bible. That's what I love. Yeah. But there is something about saying, no, the confidence doesn't come from answers. Yeah. It comes from saying, I've had an authentic experience with Jesus, and you could too. Like that's where it comes from anyway.
That's it.
So my message was that you aren't able to see something you're unwilling to believe. And that's true of me, and it's true of the person that I'm trying to reach. And so my application is to pray for open eyes, that if Jesus is the one who opens eyes, if the Holy Spirit is the one who can move a heart, and there are people, it does not matter what I say. I could be like, all of these witnesses here, and they won't be able to hear it unless something changes inside. Well, that's an area I can't change. So I got to pray that God is working on that person, and whatever mysterious stuff between them and God in their hearts, their eyes are open. That I want to pray for that. I also want to pray for my own open eyes. This is a story about people not hearing the gospel, like not hearing the good news about Jesus. But even though I embrace the good news about Jesus, there are things in my life, I'm sure, that are really hard for me to see because I'm not willing to accept it. Mm-hmm. I can get the feedback, I can get the input, I can be told that, but because I'm not open to that, I shut it down. And so as kind of a secondary application, I want to pray for my own heart to be open to say, I'm willing to see reality when it's spoken to me, not shut it down because it's inconvenient or difficult or would cost me something.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Join us again next Monday for a new episode where we'll be looking at another passage from the Bible Savvy reading schedule. And in the meantime, if you're not following along with the reading plan, check out BibleSavvy.com. Also, you can subscribe and leave a review on whatever platform you're listening or watching on. Email us your questions or suggestions at questions@BibleSavvy.com. Lastly, tell your friends, and we'll talk to you next week.